Everly basically follows a sex slave with a bounty on her head, put there by her ruthless crime lord in response to her working with the police to bring him down. Everly is stuck in this apartment and must fend off attacks from an assortment of creative bad guy types. With her mother and infant child then dropped in the mix, it becomes not only a fight for her life, but for theirs too. Before seeing the film, I wanted to love Everly. It stars classic action star Salma Hayek in an Eastern-influenced one-location action thriller, and I was hoping for something like Die Hard meets The Raid with a kick-ass lady at the helm. Sadly, Everly doesn't live up to these lofty expectations, but then it probably never could. It's a low-budget affair, and it shows. One thing to say, however, is that though the budget limitations are often clear, it doesn't necessarily affect the film in a negative way. It has real personality, and is a grungy kind of fun that is all too rare these days. Thanks I expect to the low budget, we never get any big action set pieces, but as the scale is small it keeps everything nicely personal. This is a one location film and it sticks to that pretty rigidly. When Everly heads out of the apartment to the corridor outside, for example, the camera usually remains held back. Instead of seeing exactly what is happening, we either have to use our imagination, or watch from afar and wait to see who gets the upper hand. This is probably due to the budget, but it works. That doesn't mean we don't get to see Everly fighting anyone up close, and things often get personal and nasty. This is a gory film, and it doesn't hold any punches. Balls are ruined, cheeks impaled, heads decapitated, and for the most part it's all practical. The violence feels real and immediate, and it's one of the highlights of the film. Tonally though, Everly doesn't seem to know what it wants to be, with at times it being a Kill Bill style comic book of a movie, and at others uncomfortably dark and mean. One moment Everly is playing explosive catch with a killer dog, and the next she is having a tattoo carved from her back. Throwing the mother and daughter in too threatens to tip the film into overly grim territory, but also raises the stakes dramatically. However, the filmmakers have Everly simply dump her family on a neighbour for long stretches. Everly can handle herself, and not having these weaker characters on screen neuters potential suspense in the action scenes. In Die Hard we see Holly McClane's perspective constantly, and in Predator we see Anna's. But here, thanks to the family only being on screen when the filmmakers want them to be, everything not only feels less tense but also manufactured, and it affects our immersion in the story. Were there a stronger narrative reason for them not being on screen, or a greater sense of threat to the area they're locked in, this wouldn't be an issue, but the script doesn't do either of these things. Overall, the script is probably the action's biggest weakness. For example, at one point Everly can clear a room of armed gangsters, but the next she can't handle a gun. We need to know her ability, and we need it to remain a constant. She can get better, but having her skill change depending on what amount of jeopardy the filmmakers want her to be in just makes the action feel free of tension. If you're constantly wondering either why she is able to kill everyone, or why she then isn't able to kill everyone based on what has come before, you're clearly not as invested as you should be. It feels lazy and it drains tension constantly. This is true as well for how Everly gets out of situations. Usually it's because a bad guy inadvertently helps her. Here this guy pours acid on the very binding he has used on her, and here it is this guy's sword that frees her. Action is about drama, and drama comes from objectives that the protagonist needs to overcome. She needs to drive the narrative, and if she is put in bad situations, make her work to get out of them. If the audience is invested in a character, they will be in the action sequences right alongside them. When truly invested, the audience feels that violence, that struggle, and they also feel the elation and reward when that character they care for finally breaks free. That is great cinematic action. In the end, Everly wasn't the small-scale action classic I was hoping for, but then I don't think it was really aiming to be. This is a grungy little movie, the kind people would have discovered in video stores or drive-ins back in the day. The script doesn't support the otherwise clearly filmed and edited, gory action scenes, but in the end, they are clearly filmed and edited and nicely gory. If that's what you're looking for, then check this one out. I may not be the film's biggest fan, but I do wish there were more like it, albeit that hopefully put the script first.